Yeah, let's start then.
Okay, now would that be fine? Can you
Perfect.
just?
Yeah, better,
Yes,
much
yes,
better.
Okay.
yes, yes. Yeah. So, Sahil, so as per your resume, it shows that you are knowing Java. So, can you just tell us what do you know about Java?
Okay, so Java is a multi-purpose language that are used across the application. Like some of the companies that use Java would be Spotify, then there would be Airbnb, there would be Uber and stuff like that. Judging from that, we can say Java can be used for streaming purposes as well as for social media platforms as well. Like LinkedIn also uses Java. So we can say that Java is a multi-purpose language and it can run across multiple platforms as well.
Okay, good. So, based on this, can you just tell us any 5 features of Java?
Okay, so one of the feature of Java would be it is simple. It is, when I say simple, I don't mean like it's a cakewalk, but rather its syntax is very similar to C and C++. Apart from that, many of the concept of C and C++ are removed, which could cause security concerns. Like there are pointers and reference variables and stuff like that. So those are removed. There is multi-threading that can be used in Java as well. And it is almost a object-oriented language. I am saying almost an object-oriented language because we use primitive data types, thus making it not a purely object-oriented language.
Okay. So, can you just tell us the reason why Java it's a platform independent language?
Okay, so Java is compiled in 2 steps. Like first of all, you compile the Java, it converts into a .class file, and then .class file is uh, does go inside of the JVM, that is Java Virtual Machine, after which it compiles and runs the code, and thus making it platform independent because JVM, it is built by the customer specification. When I say customer specification, I mean like Windows, it will be different JVM, while for Ubuntu, it will be different JVM, or for Apple, it will be a different JVM, thus making it a platform independent language.
Okay, good. So, can you just explain what is JVM?
Okay, so JVM is a Java virtual machine. There are many things inside of the JVM. Like there is a class loader inside of JVM that loads the class based on the requirement of the program. And there is also bytecode checker and stuff like that as well inside of JVM.
Okay, good. So, have you heard about JDK, Sahil? Heard
That
about
is
JDK?
Yes, I have heard about JDK. That's Java Development Kit.
Okay. So, what do we get in the JDK file?
What do we get in the JDK file? As in, I'm not able to understand the question.
Okay, so, can you just tell us the components in the JDK file? What will you find in the JDK?
No, I'm not aware of the same.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. So, can you just explain about the main method? Have you used it? The main method?
Yes. So main method is a entry point of a program. So each and every program that you compile should have a main method through which the program knows that I need to start the execution from this specific point.
Okay. So can you just tell me the syntax for the main method?
Okay, so syntax for the main method would be your access specifier, that is public and static. After that, that would be the return type, which is void, because main method does not return anything. Apart from that, there is main as a name of the function or method. After that, in the curly bracket, I mean the round brackets, or in the parameters, we need to write string array and arguments for the same.
Okay, good. So can you just tell why we are having that main method?
Sorry, your voice got cut off for me. Ma'am, I'm not able to hear you right
Roshni,
now.
you are not audible. Can you check once? No. You want to switch off and reconnect audio? Just try resetting the audio.
So am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yeah. Please
Okay.
continue.
Thank you. Yeah, so Sahil, I was asking that why is the main method static in Java?
Because we can reference it using the class. Like when we run the Java code, we say Java and then the name of class. Based on that name of class, we can directly execute it without making any kind of an object.
Okay. So fine. If say for example, if I write, if I don't use this keyword static, the main method, so will my program work?
It will compile successfully, but you may face error in runtime. Like for example, it may say that the given function main method is not present.
Oh, good. So now since you have mentioned about error, right? So can you just tell us what do you mean by error and exception handling?
Okay, so exception there can be of two kinds. There can be a compile time exception, while as well as there can be a runtime exception. What do I mean when I say compile time exception? While writing the code, you want to check some of the things, and the error you face while compiling the error, compiling the program, that would be a compile time exception. While executing the code and you are facing some kind of an exception, that would be a runtime exception. Easiest example I can give of compile time exception would be while connecting the JDBC session, while compiling the JDBC, you may get the SQL exception, like say insert query is wrong, or some delete query is wrong, or you misplaced something and stuff like that, like class.forName is not written and stuff like that, right? Apart from that, if I had to give an example of runtime, if you're iterating over the loop and you are dividing a certain number, and by mistake the number that you are dividing is divided by 0, you may get an exception of arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception. So you need to handle both of those exceptions.
So wait, so can you just tell us what are the keywords or the mechanism available for exception handling in Java?
Okay, so you can do exception handling in two ways. Like you can write try catch block, or you can use throws as a keyword, throw keyword. So try catch block, it consists of three basic things, from which one is optional. There is try and catch, and in the catch block you need to give the exception that can occur. Like SQL exception is one of the class. Apart from that, there is arithmetic exception, or the exception as a class in entirety, right? And there is a finally block. So finally block is such a block that executes regardless the flow goes inside of the catch block or not. And those keyword works very similar to that. There is some syntactical difference that are present while using throws keyword.
Okay. So now, say for example, we have a program in which we are having a single try block followed by multiple catch blocks. So
Yeah.
is it a valid program? So
Yes,
can you
that's
just
a valid
explain?
program. Okay, so that's a valid program. You can have multiple catch blocks inside of a single try. You can even have nested try blocks. Like inside of a try block, you can have multiple try blocks as well. When I say try, I mean try and catch block entirety. And yes, you can have multiple catch blocks as well. Like you are checking for SQL exception, and you are checking for exception itself.
Okay, good. So meanwhile, you were explaining about the keywords, right, that were being used. So can you just tell me, you told me about the throw and throws keyword, right? So
Right.
can you just tell me the difference between throw and throws keyword in Java?
Right. So first of all, there is a syntactical difference between throws and throw keyword. One is written after the class, and second one is written while you are checking some kind of a error. Like same in my example, basically throw keyword is used to go to the exception block essentially. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are in your program, you are checking if the age is greater than 18 or not. Okay, you have made a custom exception block for the same, and in case the age is less than 18, you are writing a throw keyword, right? So throw age is less than 18, and then the message for the same. So in that way, you can use the throw keyword. And throws keyword is usually followed by the name of the exception, like SQL exception or say arithmetic exception or exception as an entirety. IO exception is there as well.
Okay. Good. So now moving on. So say you have mentioned about the finally block, right? And you might have also used the final keyword, right? So can you just tell me the difference between final and finally?
Right. So final is used in the exception handling, while final final is used in a variable or method or in a class. Right. So like I was saying, finally will be used in exception handling, while final will be used inside of a method, variable, or class.
Okay. So now moving on. So say for the variables, right? Now we have talked about the variables and all. So can you just tell me what are the default values that can be assigned to variables and instances in Java?
I am not able to understand the question. What do you mean by default variables? When I say default variables, if I say
Just a
int
moment.
I,
Sahil, I would like to just interrupt. Sorry. So my question is, means what are the default values that are assigned to variables and instances in Java? So my question is that.
like you
Default
can
values.
right. So if you just write int I, that would be it would assign 0 to it. While if you say int float, I mean sorry, float and then the value of j, it will assign 0.0f to it. While double will be 0.0 d, and the string will be a null string. That would be /u000 in the Unicode.
Okay. So you might have heard about the collection framework in Java, right?
Yeah, sure, man.
So can you just explain what are the important class and interface that are available in the collection framework?
Okay, so collection frameworks basically helps you to store the information in a certain way. I would say in a certain way because each and every collection is different in its own way. So one of the interface is list interface, from which you can make list, I mean array list and stacks and queues and that. Apart from that, there is also linked list as well as hash set and hash map as well. So these were the main 5 types of collections that I have mostly used, that are array list, linked list, hash set, and hash map.
Okay. So can you just tell me the difference between the array list and array?
Okay, so
Array.
right. So arrays are basically a predefined set of values. Like if I say array of length 5, it will be just the array of length 5. But when I say array list, I can dynamically grow and shrink the size of the array list as well. Thus, but the thing is, arrays are much more memory efficient in my opinion, because if I say array of length 5, I know that this much memory space will be occupied and not more than that. But while I'm saying array list, if I had to increase the size of the array list, I will need to copy the array again and paste it inside of a block, after which I need to add the same. In array list, there is a function called add, in which we can by which we can use and increase the size of the array as well. I mean array list as well.
Okay. So in case of array, how can you add the elements?
In case of an array, how can we add the elements? Like if I want to assign the element, I can do it with the help of indexing. Indexing would be a at index of I, that is a in the square brackets, I will write I, or the index like 0, 1, 2, 3. As array starts with 0, I will say 0, 1, 2, 3 in order to assign the values to them.
Okay. So have you used any package in Java?
Package in Java is in,
Yes.
can you just elaborate a bit more?
Okay, so are you aware of the term package?
Yes. Packages are basically logical grouping or logical folders of Java, which are seen inside of a project. will be the folder kind of things. Like if I say let's say com.demo.entities, right? So there will be a com folder in which there will be a demo folder in which there will be an entity folder in which I will keep all my entities class.
So any advantage of using package?
While developing the project, if you have the team, it becomes much more easier to manage the classes, and we know exactly where do we need to find the classes. Like if I want to find entities, I will just search the entity package and I will be able to find the class. Like I don't need to search the entire project in order to find a certain class.
Good. So have you used any inbuilt package?
Right. So I have used scanner package. I have also used some IO packages as well, but I have used scanner package.
Oh. So fine. So now moving on to some object-oriented programming, right? So can you just tell me what are the main pillars in OOPS concept?
Right. So main pillars of OOPS concept would be abstraction, polymorphism, encapsulation, and inheritance.
Okay. So can you just briefly explain about the data abstraction?
Right. So basically in program, you don't really want to know what exactly a function is doing. You can do the same with the help of abstraction, while you give the user just the function that they need to execute itself, and they don't need to worry about how it is implemented or which are the different packages which are the different classes rather that are used inside of that specific function. With the help of this, we can achieve abstraction, and thus making it much more easier to understand the project and maintain the consistency of it as well.
Okay, fine. So I would provide you with some options, right? So based on that option, can you just tell me which of the option best describes an example of data abstraction? Okay, so you can just listen carefully. So say for example, I'm having a dollar class with floating point variable, which is private. So this is one of my options. A dollar class with a floating point variable that is private.
Okay.
Then the second scenario, a square class with the getters and setters methods for its width and height.
Okay.
Then a protected point class with public methods.
Okay.
This is the third option. Okay. And the fourth option, say for example, I'm having a car class.
Okay.
With fuel level and add gas methods. Right.
Right. Right. So in the last right. So in the last example, in the car method, it seems much more appropriate to use abstraction. Like you can have an abstract class vehicle in which you can implement, declare two signatures like fuel vehicle and price or other. I forgot the name of the method, but
add gas.
yeah, add gas. So you can make those two methods inside of that private abstract class that is abstract methods, and you can extend those inside of the car, and thus you will be able to achieve abstraction.
Okay, and what about the dollar class with floating point variable that is private? So isn't it an example data abstraction?
No, that's not the data abstraction example. I would rather classify it very close to. It's not exactly inside of encapsulation, but I would say it is very close to encapsulation. While the example that you gave of getter and setter method is the example of encapsulation, where you encapsulated everything and you are just using it with the help of getter, setters, and other methods like that. While the third example that you gave, that was of the protected thing. Protected, we usually use protected while we are doing some kind of an inheritance stuff, where we just need to use the methods in the child class from the parent class. We can use protected as an access specifier, that is.
Okay. Okay, a good sign. So yeah, fine. So now we are done with the technical round. So I would request Pradha to please carry on with the remark. Thank you, Sai.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Roshni. Hi, Sahil.
Hi, ma'am.
So if you can just briefly tell me about yourself first.
Right. So I am Sahil Upadhyay. I am from Ahmedabad itself, and I've gone to Ahmedabad University in order to pursue my master's in computer application. I like to research about stuff that I don't really understand quite well. Like I'm currently researching about blockchain and all those stuff out. While along with that, I am also trying to research and learn more about machine learning and statistics. So I'm not really good at statistics, but I'm trying to learn.
It's really nice to know that you have a really inquisitive kind of a behavior. So just tell me one thing, since you have been working in, you are exploring so many things. So have you developed any kind of a project during your
Yes.
graduation or?
Yes, I had developed a project for supply chain management using blockchain as a backend for the technology, like as a blockchain as a backend, right? So basically, what my project was doing, we went to the different vendors. We tried to understand what kind of a supply chain they are using. Like they are taking something from the farmers, they are processing something on it, and after that they are selling to the customers. Based on this research, we were able to identify there are three actors in this. Like there is farmer, there is supplier, and lastly there is the customer. When I say supplier, I mean like the retailers or the person who is selling it to you or who is purchasing from the farmers, right? And we developed the entire project using Hyperledger and Munstack. Hyperledger along with the Munstack.
Okay. So what part did you work on? How big was your team and how many people were working on it?
Okay, so essentially my team was about the size of 3 people, one of which was doing the front end. I was researching and developing the backend and Hyperledger part, while the third, my friend, my colleague was performing all kind of analysis on the same, like how good is the project, like how much time is it taking, is it working properly. Essentially, we can say he was doing some kind of a testing on the same, so that when we try to deploy the project, it should not be like it is not tested and a user can enter anything and it breaks the code. So yes, we divided the group inside of 3 parts. Like one person was doing testing, one was doing for front end or the React part, and I was doing the backend and blockchain part.
Okay. So can you think of a time when you didn't communicate the things clearly as you should have, and it led to some problem?
Yes. So while I was doing my BCA, I remember one time we needed to submit a project and we were quite in a hurry. So we just, like we usually do, we delegated the time. I mean, delegated the work among another. Like you will do front end, and it happened like 2% did the same module. So we had two more same module done by 2 people, and we needed to do 3 modules for the same. So that was a miscommunication, and after that we tried to have a meeting every, let's say, 5 to 10 days, and know every, so each and every group member knows that yes, this person is working on this specific thing, and I'm working on this specific thing, and this much is the progress for the same.
Good. So communication is very important,
Yes.
right? Okay. So what extra activities are you doing apart from all this that you do?
Right. So apart from this, like I said, I like to research and stuff. So most of my time usually go inside of research. Like currently, I was researching some Olympus kind of things. That is cryptocurrency. I like to research about those stuff. And yes, that's all we
Okay.
usually work on.
Okay. So if you're given an opportunity to work in an organization, so what would excite you more and what would you look for?
Right. So what would I like to learn new things very much. So first of all, learning of the new things is pretty important to me. Uh, like if I'm learning one, I can go inside of a group, like whichever group that is assigned to me, or rather a team that is assigned to me. I can communicate with my co-workers, see how they approach a specific problem, and I can have my own methods also to approach a problem, and thus making it much more quicker in the future references to solve the same.
Okay. So any specific kind of a role that you aspire to be in?
Right. So like you know, I would like to be a blockchain architect. I'm currently working on the same. I'm learning a little by little. I'm learning new stuff and trying to implement the same. Maybe one day, if there is a role, I might take up a blockchain architect kind of role.
So have you looked at a few certifications on the same lines?
Right. So yes, I have researched. Like one of my favorite blockchain technologies to work on is Hyperledger, because it is much more developer friendly and easier to understand. I have looked inside of those certification as well. So there are certain MCQs that we need to prepare, and apart from that, there is hands-on as well. So yes, I'm currently preparing for the same as well to give that specific exam. That is Hyperledger certification for administrator.
Okay. Now, since you have a specific goal in mind, but suppose tomorrow you're put in a situation where you're told that this is the business requirement and you have to work in so and so project. So what would be your take on that?
Right. I'm fine with working in any project because, like I said, I can communicate with my team members and I can see how they approach the problem. Like, for example, in college, one of my friend was extremely good in coding, right? So essentially, I asked him one day, like, how do you approach the specific problem? So he told me like he used to do some rubber ducky kind of programming where he used to keep a rubber duck with him and he used to explain the code to him. After which I took that and I tried to implement the same, and thus making my program a little bit faster and problem solving skills a little bit faster than it was previous. So different project is fine as long as I'm learning. I can implement the same I can gain more knowledge in the same.
Okay, so technology will not be a constraint for you?
No, technology
If
won't
it
be a
is not
constraint.
in your league, it is something that, today you are learning Java, tomorrow we tell you to learn Python or XYZ technology.